did not like leading up into the week of practice. That will be Dak Prescott. Mike McCarthy is in every meeting. He's very hands-on. He understands how to get the most out of his quarterbacks, young quarterbacks. One of the things that he doesn't get a lot of credit for, because the defenses weren't good, but he made sure that Aaron was exposed to all defensive fronts. The 4-3 with Bob Sanders, the 3-4 with Dom Capers at young ages, so Aaron could understand this is what you're going to see in this league.
You're talking about in practice?
In practices.
Okay.
This is what you're going to see. Throw everything at him. Make sure he sees it all so that he can have a quicker learning curve, and his reaction in the games is that much quicker in response to what he sees, because I saw it in practice. That was one thing that I noticed about Mike McCarthy in myself. We saw everything. He made sure he threw everything at us to where we were prepared and we were understanding what was going to be shown to us as offensive guys looking at the defense, so that we can play and react versus thinking and then reacting.
So the one, I think all that's incredibly valuable information and insightful. One thing I'll add to it is Aaron Rodgers really thrived at getting to the line of scrimmage, seeing what's going on, and being empowered to make his own calls, right? Being able to call checks, being able to see what's happening there. One spot where Dak really impressed me this year, even though I'm somewhat of a Dak skeptic, is when we saw him get to the line, realize, oh, they cannot guard the seam here. They are not prepared for me to check to a run here. He did it not very often, but somewhat often this year, and when you saw him do it, it was incredibly successful. I think he will be empowered to do that more under Mike McCarthy, assuming the McCarthy-Kellen Moore situation is ironed out. There's a little, I would say, uncertainty about, is Kellen Moore staying? If so, who's going to be calling plays? I'm sure McCarthy and Jerry Jones have discussed that, just hasn't been reported out fully. Here's my concern for McCarthy with Dak. Greg, I'll ask you, because you've been a rich guy for a very long time. You ever had a very, very fast car? I don't know if you're a car guy.
I have.
You have? Okay. While you owned that car, did you ever own a different car or drive a different car that wasn't the same juice to it?
I did.
Because it feels very different. You get in it, you hit the gas, you're like, oh, this is a totally different situation.
This is not the car that I'm accustomed
Mike McCarthy has coached what two quarterbacks in this league?
Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe the two best arms in the history of football. Certainly on the list. They're on the Mount Rushmore, along with Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, probably going to be on there. Dak Prescott has a lot of really good qualities. Elite arm talent, not one of them. And I think it's going to be a learning curve for McCarthy for the first time in his life as a head coach to not have a quarterback who can fit every window, make every throw. Because Favre and Rodgers are as good as in, and that's not an indictment on Dak. He could coach any quarterback in the NFL right now other than Patrick Mahomes, and it would be a downgrade in just arm talent and arm strength for maybe Josh Allen too. Josh Allen just going to fire it out of bounds, but from Favre and Rodgers. And so that's an adjustment, and I'm also curious, like as receivers, you guys knew you had that, and I'm sure there were some coaching points or schematic points that relied on Favre or Aaron or Brett can fit this in. That's going to be an adjustment with Dak because he doesn't have that type of arm, obviously, that those guys did.
He doesn't, but he can adjust to that by the timing of which he chooses to throw. So I'm not so much concerned with that. I saw a lot of improvement with Dak Prescott and his ability to get rid of the ball and throw with confidence. That is everything for a quarterback. When you throw with confidence and with great timing, it eliminates that potential of or a lack of what you don't have.
Right.
The other thing that's good for a quarterback is to get signed, so you're on that team.
That would help.
We gotta wait and see what that happens. Coming up, is Robert Kraft praying for Tom Brady to retire? That's ahead. This is First Things First.
See how Greg didn't even bat an eye when I said his...
Get back to work and train. Nick, are you buying that Brady can still play to championship level?
No. And people, I hate that I come across as anti-Tom Brady.
No, you don't.
Well, no, but I don't.
You don't hate it?
No, I do hate it because Tom Brady has had as good of a career as any athlete in my entire life in any sport.
I meant no, you don't come off as anti-Tom Brady.
Oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if that's exactly what you meant or not, but I appreciate that. Tom Brady is, we love debating everything, and no one dares debate who the best quarterback ever is, because you'd look foolish arguing anybody else. We can talk about arm talent. We can say, you know, just eye test on one throw. We know the GOAT is Tom Brady. You've had to change the discussion to, like, is he the best football player ever, which is more complicated because of Jerry Rice, Jim Brown, different positions. I believe all of that. I believe Tom Brady's one of 2 players in the history of the league. You cut the career down the middle. You have first ballot Hall of Fame the first 10 years, first ballot Hall of Fame the next 10 years. But he's done, and people are afraid to say it. And so I sit here and say it, and I seem like I hate on the guy. He's conducted himself like a gentleman, a professional, and a great teammate. He seems to be a wonderful husband and father. He is the consummate pro. He's not a good quarterback anymore. 8 guys played this weekend. Who was last in passer rating? Him. 2 guys didn't account for touchdown passes. Him and another 40-year-old, McCown, Josh McCown, who came in because Carson got hurt. Only Tannehill had fewer yards per attempt, and Tannehill only completed 8 passes. The writing has been on the wall, by the way. Can we show it real quick before, Greg? These are the last 4 years. If that's a stock, you're selling it. It's not bouncing back up. Every year it's gotten worse, and there's reasoning for it. He's 42 damn years old. So no, he's not a championship quarterback anymore. I wish him the best of luck, and I think he's going to find greener pastures with the Chargers. But even with those weapons, what you're going to see is a 43-year-old quarterback who, even if he's the greatest 43-year-old quarterback ever, that's a bad quarterback because at some point the age matters, and it took longer for it to catch up to Brady than anybody else ever. But it caught up to him about midway through last year, and we've seen it since.
I don't think he's a championship quarterback. However, I do think he is still capable of winning games and allowing the New England Patriots to be competitive and still being a viable team to out in the playoffs. Everything that you're saying about Tom Brady is true. Like, the eye test alone shows anyone outside of a Patriot fan, because they don't want to see what everyone else is going to identify. The throws are low. The throws aren't as accurate. It's inconsistent at times. Even saying all that, I still can't put it all on Tom Brady, because if you were able to tell me he had top personnel and top skill guys at every position all the way around him, and then he played like this, that is one thing. But to have him go out and have the skilled level guys around him, the young guys, inconsistent play in Mohamed Sanu, and all these other guys, whatever, the inconsistent play of offensive line, no running game, and then you expect him to elevate everyone's level of play at the age of 42 years old. That is just flat out asking a lot. And you know, I know, we've all seen it. Father Time wins. I don't care how great you were yesterday. Today is a new day. And can you sustain what you had yesterday? And that's what I feel like Tom Brady is slipping on. He's definitely declining. Can he be competitive? 100%. I think he can play at a level that's high enough to where he can compete and have any team that he goes to in a position to win football games.
When you look at the Patriots and you see what Tom Brady's able to do, and you know that they're not going to be able to improve at every single skill position and that line completely, are the Patriots better off with the Tom Brady you saw this year or whoever else is out there?
Either way, you're drawing dead for a Super Bowl next season. And they're an organization that is measured by that. So you are better off ripping off the Band-Aid. And what folks, I understand the argument that if Brady had all pros all around him, he would look better. Listen, of course. And we saw Case Keenum make an NFC championship game, and Blake Bortles make an AFC championship game. And we have seen, guys, it is true that Brady is not so awful right now that if he had a superstar cast of characters around him.
How about